meetings of the Mason. I'm going to start over again because it just started there. I'd like to welcome everyone. I'm Craig Kiefner, the Director of Student Support for Mason Public Schools. I'd like to welcome you to our public segment of our monthly Diversity Committee meeting. We had a full agenda, and I apologize for our slight late start tonight. As we get rolling, I'm going to be going through our Diversity Committee summary of the meeting since our district consultant is not with us tonight, and he normally carries that part. So without any further ado, I'll jump into that summary, and then I'll turn it over to our subcommittee chairs to share out information for their specific subcommittees. So at the top of our meeting, we talked about a couple of items of old business, particularly our T-shirt and other apparel and item order that's been offered by the Diversity Committee, offered as an opportunity to purchase by the Diversity Committee. Our partner in that, It's Apparel, a local Mason company, reports that the sales have been steadily coming in, and we'll start to see that apparel all across Mason School District and community. We also had a brief discussion about the inappropriate and racist comments made in the stands, overheard in the stands at our last Mason varsity football playoff game. We discussed the district's message that came out after that regarding the no tolerance for that kind of language and our stance against, as well as there were questions just about some of the actions that were taken beyond that, and we went into discussion about that and so what might be the next steps. And then I provided a brief overview of the subcommittee proposal form. As our committee continues its work, our subcommittees continue their work and really dive into their work this year in diversity, equity, and inclusion. We need to have vehicles to do that. So we have a diversity committee proposal that will be there for our committee members to put things forward. As you'll see later in my report here, there were a couple that were put forward. And then the subcommittees reported out. I will share just a couple minutes they'll share just a couple minutes with specifically what they talked about, but I will tell you that at the end of our meeting, we did have a couple of proposals come from a subcommittee as well as our administration. The one from the subcommittee was a proposal to, they wanted approval to begin planning and moving forward with their proposal, which just so happens to be called the Mason Moves Forward event, a community event to promote this work and other items that would occur later in the school year or later in the calendar year in 2022. And then that was approved by the approval planning and send it to the next level was approved by the committee. And then our executive director of curriculum, Matt Stewart, came in. He shared with us some state demographic data about Mason Public Schools and sort of the trends that we're seeing amongst our demographics in the school district. And all of that was sort of a precursor to his proposal that the Diversity Committee begin maybe partnering with the Mason Promise Scholarship to expand that program because we have similar goals and similar objectives, and it sort of fits the needs of both groups. And so that was also approved to continue that planning and progress and maybe merging our groups or in terms of that project. So at that point, or actually that was sort of at the end of the program, but in between those two portions of our meeting, our subcommittee chairs reported out on the work of their group. And so I'll turn it over to them now. And we start with our community educational resources and communications chair.
All right, I'm going to do that. Jennifer wasn't able to stay on, so I'm going to present for our committee. We had a meeting earlier this week, and we also had another meeting a couple weeks ago. We completed the logic model and got that turned into Dr. Tishner last week. We spent a lot of time on that this fall, and also to discuss a little bit the Student Diversity Club at the high school. It kind of overlaps with the Student Experience Committee, so Amy Sue will probably talk about that in a minute. But Mark Sunderman, who's a teacher at the high school, is on our committee and is going to be involved with Amy Sue on that. So we were pretty excited about that as a way to, reach out to our students at the high school. We also talked about a parent survey. We're going to start working on a survey for our parents in January. So we're starting to work on that. And then that led to discussion about probably our biggest item that we've been talking about is the Mason Moves Forward event. Really excited about that. This will be an event at the high school where we can really connect with the community, have some presentations about diversity, work with Dr. Tishner's team to present items to our community about diversity and just begin, some connections to the community. We've talked about a lot of different ideas how this will work, and we're still in the process. But tonight we gave a proposal to the group, and they approved us to keep moving forward. So that's kind of been our main item of discussion, and we're going to continue working on that in our next meetings as the Mason Moves Forward event. It'll be on a Saturday, and sounds like it'll be in April. We're looking at March or April at the high school, and really looking forward to getting a lot of community involvement. And we really want to work on, and Jennifer spoke at our other meeting about how to get people to attend, and really inviting, Mason community members to attend. We want to have really good participation. So, so that's been the main focus that we've been working on for the last month.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
At that point, we'll turn it over to our Educator and Development and Resources Subcommittee.
Hello, that'd be me. I'm Kim Clark. On November 18th, my subcommittee met with a new community member that has been previously involved with working with teacher development. So we were excited to see her input and feedback on our logic model that we had in process. We spent a lot of time on our short-term and long-term goals on our logic model, as well as brainstorming some ideas for upcoming PD in February, and hoping to include some DEI topics that will continue our professional development in that area. Thanks.
Thanks, Kim. Turn it over to our District Policies, Guidelines, and Practices Subcommittee. Ted?
And good evening. I'm Ted Berryhill. I'm the chairperson of that subcommittee. We have a plan to meet in January to begin the work on what we're calling is kind of like a guiding document or a lens for looking at policies and guidelines throughout the district. Initially, our subcommittee was formed with the intent of potentially looking at specific policy and guideline reforms related to DEI. But at Dr. Tishner's prompting, we felt like that work still laid in the hands of school district employees, both administrators, teachers, and potentially all the way up to board members, but that we should provide guidance so that when those folks are making decisions, that they would always have DEI, a DEI frame of mind or a way of thinking in their heads while they're making decisions about policy and guidelines. So in January, our committee is going to go about making that guiding document, and we're going to present it back to this group for approval and then dissemination to school administration, teachers, whoever might be working on setting policies and guidelines for the school district. Our logic model is turned into Dr. Tishner with potential refinements based on our January meeting.
Thanks, Ted. At this point, we turn it over to our Student Experience Group.
Hello, I am Amy Sue Hopkins, and our subcommittee met yesterday. We have finished and turned in our logic model to Dr. Tishner. We are working on finalizing our student survey, and we are going to utilize some members of the diversity committee that have experience working and writing surveys. So we're going to use their expertise before turning the survey over to be approved. And then we will be working on setting the diversity standards of what we will want taught at what grade level. And on a side note, as was previously mentioned, I am working on finalizing all of the documents that need to be turned in to hopefully start the diversity club at the high school in the very near future. So hopefully some more information will be coming out on that soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy Sue. I believe we have a representative here from the Instructional Practices and Curriculum Design group that was going to share out. Or actually, that was Mrs. That was actually Mary Hilker, our middle school assistant principal, and she actually was unable to get back for the meeting. However, she did give a full report that her committee is going to meet next Tuesday. They continue to work on the next steps of the logic model. And that's just as a point of note, that's been one of our more active subcommittees since the beginning of the school year. Already carried out several PDs, opportunities for our staff, Mason staff as a whole. So, and then finally was our membership subcommittee. I can probably report for, I'll let Molly do it, but Molly, maybe give a brief report other than, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're happy to have our new members that were added this year active, and that is all we have as an update.
Awesome. So we're nearing the end of this public report out of the diversity committee meeting for this month. We really appreciate everyone's attention that they're paying to our work in this area. We're really proud of the work that's not only being done, but will be done and continues to be promoted by the district and of course the diversity committee. So thank everyone. If you ever have any, if you'd like to reach out directly to the diversity committee, I'll mention to you that you can reach out directly to the committee at diversity@masonkk12.net. It's the dedicated email address for it. It's monitored by our committee. And if you ever have any direct communication like with them, it's available out there. So otherwise, we hope you have a great December evening, and we will speak to you next month.